Ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us someone who apparently thinks he understands fashion. Giormani. Yes, that Giormani, who somehow clawed his way back from the great beyond just for this interview, because apparently even the afterlife can't resist a good scoop. The man who's been adequate for several decades, draping the world in his beige fantasies. Now, recently, Mr. Giormani has made headlines not for his predictable silhouettes that every Hollywood starlet seems contractually obligated to wear. No, he's here because of his will, his testament, his final fashion statement, if you will, from beyond the veil. Apparently, he believes his legacy is worth discussing. How charmingly eternal. Today, we'll dissect this document with the same precision I use to shred the confidence of incompetent assistants. Because, darlings, if you're going to leave behind billions in a fashion empire from the other side, you better make sure it's not as dull as your spring 2003 collection. So, buckle up, because this is going to be educational. For him, mostly.
Miranda, thank you for having me. It's always illuminating to speak with someone who has such strong opinions about fashion. I must say, your introduction was very comprehensive. Though I think my spring 2003 collection was rather well received, if memory serves. But then again, we all have different perspectives on what constitutes timeless elegance versus glances at her outfit statement pieces.
How charming. Giormani, let's talk about your recent revelation, your will. Tell me, what exactly goes through one's mind when deciding to leave billions to a foundation, rather than, say, ensuring your fashion house remains in the hands of someone who actually understands your vision?
You know, Miranda, when you reach my age and you've built something that spans decades, you begin to think beyond just succession. The Giormani Foundation isn't just about preserving my work. It's about nurturing future talent, supporting culture, and ensuring that what I've built continues to serve a greater purpose. I've always believed that true luxury isn't just about beautiful clothes. It's about leaving the world a little more beautiful than you found it. As for the company, I have every confidence that the right people will continue my legacy. After all, good design transcends any single person, don't you think?
How noble. Though I can't help but wonder, Gio, if this sudden philanthropic awakening is perhaps, what's the word? Guilt. 40 years of dressing women in variations of the same beige pantsuit, and now you want to nurture talent? Tell me, what exactly does one do with 4.2 billion euros when they've already bored half of Milan to tears?
Beige pantsuits? Miranda, I think you might be confusing my work with someone else's. But you raise an interesting point about the money. This isn't guilt, it's gratitude. When you've been blessed with success, you have a responsibility. The foundation will support young designers, preserve Italian craftsmanship, fund cultural projects. It's about creating opportunities for others to find their voice in fashion, even if that voice might be different from what some editors might prefer.
Fascinating. So you're telling me that you've decided to leave your entire fortune to a foundation instead of, say, your nieces and nephews? The same relatives who've been patiently waiting for decades, probably practicing their surprised faces in the mirror? Gio, darling, some people might call this generous. I call it the ultimate fashion statement. I'm taking my billions and going home. Tell me, how exactly did you break this news to your family? Did you send them a memo? Perhaps a very expensive goodbye card?
Miranda, my family has been well provided for throughout my life. This decision isn't about abandoning them. It's about ensuring that what I've built serves a greater purpose beyond just inherited wealth. My nieces and nephews are talented, accomplished individuals who don't need billions to define their worth. As for how I told them, Let's just say it was a family dinner they won't soon forget. But sometimes, Miranda, the most loving thing you can do is teach people to stand on their own 2 feet, even if those feet are wearing very expensive shoes.
Oh, Gio, how utterly heartwarming. Teaching your family to stand on their own 2 feet, preferably in last season's loafers, no doubt. But let's talk about this foundation of yours. You're pouring billions into nurturing talent and preserving Italian craftsmanship. Darling, are we sure this isn't just a tax dodge dressed up in a silk scarf? Or perhaps a way to ensure every aspiring designer in Milan is doomed to churn out beige blazers for eternity? Tell me, what's the real plan here? Are you secretly building an army of minimalist tailors to take over the world?
An army of minimalist tailors? That's a vision even I couldn't dream up. No, no. The foundation is about opportunity, not world domination, though I suppose a well-cut blazer could conquer a few hearts. The real plan? To give young designers the freedom to experiment, to fail, to create something that doesn't just follow trends, but sets them. As for taxes, I assure you my accountants are far too busy matching their ties to their pocket squares to orchestrate anything so theatrical. And beige? Let's just say the future will have a few more colors. Perhaps even ones you'd approve of, Miranda.
Colors, Gio? Are we witnessing a revolution? Giormani flirting with, shudder, neons? Oh, darling, I'll need a moment to recover from that image. But let's get to the meat of it. You're handing over billions to this foundation to inspire the next generation. What exactly is your vision for these fledgling designers? Are we talking avant-garde chaos, or will they be chained to your, let's say, restrained aesthetic? Paint us a picture, Gio. What does the future of fashion look like under the Giormani Foundation's reign?
Miranda, I'd never subject the world to neons. That's a promise. The future, as I see it, isn't about chaining anyone to my aesthetic or anyone else's. The Giormani Foundation, yes, I'll humor your pronunciation, is about giving designers the tools to find their own voice, whether that's avant-garde chaos or something so subtle it whispers elegance. Picture this, a world where a young designer from a small Italian village can access mentorship, ateliers, and yes, even a few bolts of fabric that aren't beige. I want to see bold ideas, craftsmanship that respects tradition but isn't afraid to break it. Maybe one of them will even convince you to wear something other than that scowl, Miranda.
Oh, Gio, you're aiming for miracles now. Changing my wardrobe? That's bolder than any neon nightmare. But I must say, this talk of bold ideas and breaking tradition sounds suspiciously like you're trying to rewrite your own legacy. Let's be honest, darling. Your empire was built on safe, predictable elegance. Some might say, too safe. So tell me, if you could go back and shake up your own career, take a risk that you never did, what would it be? Would you have sent a sequin jumpsuit down the runway? Or perhaps, oh, I don't know, designed a dress that didn't look like it was attending a board meeting?
A sequin jumpsuit, Miranda? You're trying to give me a heart attack. If I could go back, well, I've always believed in timelessness over trends, but perhaps I'd have played more with structure, something wildly sculptural, like couture that defies gravity. Not sequins, mind you, but maybe a gown that looks like it's floating, or a suit that makes you feel like you're walking on air. I once sketched a jacket that was half architecture, half dream, never made it past the sketchbook. Too risky for the boardroom, as you'd say. But through the foundation, I hope someone else picks up that sketchbook and runs with it. Risk is for the young, Miranda, and I'm giving them the chance to be reckless in the best way.
Floating gowns and reckless youth? My goodness, Gio, you're starting to sound like you've been sneaking into Vivienne Westwood's archives. I'm almost impressed. But let's pivot to something juicier. You've spent decades dressing the elite, royalty, celebrities, and the occasional dictator's wife, no doubt. With this foundation, you're now playing fairy godmother to the fashion world. If you could wave your magic wand, or should I say, your perfectly tailored measuring tape, and grant one outrageous, absurd, completely impractical wish for the future of fashion, what would it be? No limits, Gio. Go wild. What's the most ridiculous, fabulous thing you'd unleash on the world?
Miranda, you're relentless. An outrageous wish? All right, I'll bite. I'd love to see fashion become alive. Imagine garments that adapt to your mood, fabrics that shift color with your heartbeat, or a dress that blooms like a flower when you're happy. Utterly impractical, yes. Can you imagine the dry cleaning bill? But it would make every runway a living, breathing work of art. The technology's probably out there somewhere, and I'd love the foundation to fund some mad genius who thinks they can make it happen. And who knows, Miranda, maybe one day you'll wear a mood-changing scarf that turns red when you're, well, being you.
Well, Gio, I must admit, mood-changing scarves and floating gowns? You've surprised me, and that's rarer than a perfectly fitted trouser in a fast fashion clearance bin. I'm almost tempted to believe you're not entirely obsessed with beige. Almost. But let's wrap this up before I start imagining you in a sequined cape. Any final words for our audience, darling? Or are you too busy dreaming of fabrics that read heartbeats?
Miranda, it's been an experience. Thank you for the spirited conversation. I think we've both learned something, or at least had a laugh. To your audience, I'd say keep an eye on the future. The Giorgio Foundation will bring new voices to fashion, and I hope they surprise you as much as I've apparently surprised Miranda. Thank you very much for having me.
Surprised? Let's not get carried away, Gio. Well, darlings, there you have it. Giorgio, the man who's swapping billions for mood-swinging scarves and a legacy that might just outshine his beige empire. From family dinners to fashion revolutions, we've dissected it all. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, subscribe for more deliciously cutting interviews, and comment below. What's the most absurd fashion wish you'd make? Until next time, stay fabulous, or at least try.